Hey friends, Adam here. Welcome to the Every Shot Explained Series 75 Ball Challenge Edition. Now, for those of you who don't know what either of those are, I will put links above and in the description and stuff. For starters, the Every Shot Explained series, I started with 8 ball and I'll put a link up to that here. That has been my best video on the channel so far. I broke 5 racks of 8 ball head on, and then in part 2 I broke with the second ball break, went through every single shot, all the spin, all the thoughts, all the leaves, positions, all that. I then followed up with 9 ball, that is in that same playlist. And this is going to be the 75 Ball Challenge edition. Now, for those of you who don't know what 75 Ball Challenge is, as soon as YouTube lets me put another card up, I will. I started doing this a few years ago. The essence of the game is it's a 15 ball rack. You break head on, or however you want to break, just like 8 ball. After the break, you take ball in hand and you try to run out any ball, any pocket, make all 15. The only caveat to that is if you scratch on the break, you spot whatever you make, but you still get ball in hand, you don't lose any points or anything. And then the goal is to run 5 racks for 75, 5 times 15, 75. I wasn't sure if there was going to be math in this video. I'm sorry if there is. It won't be too much more complex than that. As soon as you miss though, you stop, you mark your score, and you go on. Now, for those of you who have been following the channel, in January I started doing this as my main mode of practice, and I'm trying to do 5 attempts a day. Average is sitting right above 30. I've had a number of 75s, I've had a number of single digits. For those of you who think it's so easy, I want you to try it, and I want you to leave your results in the comments and let me know how you do once you try it. People think because you can shoot any ball, any pocket, you get ball in hand to start, that it's the easiest thing possible. And again, give it a try. What good is the 75 Ball Challenge? It can help you with pattern play for 8 ball. It can help you with straight pool. It can help you with pattern play and vision and 9 ball. Overall shooting, getting loose, getting in stroke. It's just an overall good way to practice. So I'll talk more as we go on. Of course, let's get on. I'm going to start first rack. Now, I don't know what my plan is here. I don't know if I'm going to do separate racks, if I'm going to do one run. Hopefully I can keep one run going and get all the way to 75, but it is not very easy, as I said. So for the break, I'm breaking head ball here. You can break whatever you want. I just recommend breaking so you get the best spread. I am trying to make a ball because I'm also using this for practicing for 8 ball break, but I'm not as concerned about making a ball as I am about getting a good spread and not scratching. Almost scratched. Made a ball. All right, so now as I said, we get ball in hand to start. The first thing you want to do is you want to look up any of your problems. First thing you want to do is get the chalk mark off the cue ball. You want to look up any of your problems on the table. A lot of times balls can get clustered in this area. We do have 3 balls in a cluster, but the 2 ball does go. And as soon as the 2 ball goes, the 14 and the 7 go. The 7 also does go by itself. So really the 14 is blocking the 2 this way. The 2 is kind of blocking the 14, that's it. I'm not going to worry about this cluster with ball in hand. I'm going to look at other places. The 11-10 is an issue. If I get here, I can just play the 11 and follow and get the 10. I could start with 11, 10, 2, and then clear out these 3 and go up table. The 3-12 is kind of goofy, but from anywhere over on this side, I can play either of those in the side. I can even play the 3 all the way down. What I'm looking at though is this 13-1. And when you look at these racks, you want to look for balls that block other balls. A lot of times a ball can be sitting in a pocket and it looks like it's an easy shot, but it blocks other things. So with ball in hand here, you may be tempted to say, oh, well, the combo is easy. I can just play the 13-1. I do not recommend it. I recommend getting the easy shot out of the way with ball in hand and get guaranteed and get a next shot. So what I'm going to do here, I'm also concerned a little bit about the 11-10 because if I don't get on it and get it out of the way, I don't want to leave it till last because I want to use the 11-10 to get on the 2, or the 11 to get on the 2 at least. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to play to get on the 3 to then bring the cue ball down here. So this is going to be with ball in hand, just a small draw shot in between the 13 and 4. Straight bottom, no side spin. Got a little bit too far out because I don't want to be playing over the 11, but I'm still in a good spot where I can get over to that, or playing over the 13. But I'm still in a good spot where I can go over the 11. I just want to make sure I get far enough. On this side is bad of the shot line. I want to be on this side of it. I'm probably not going to go and post and draw lines. That's actually kind of a pain in this format. I can just play straight top here. And I think I spun the cue ball a little bit. I put a little bit of side spin on it that was not intended. And I hit a little bit harder than intended, but I'm still okay. I do not have the 9 ball, but I do have the 11, but I do not have the 11 in a spot where I can hold for the 2. It may look like I can, but this ball is going to travel. So what I need to do is get a second plan up. Now when you're shooting these shots like this, you always want to have what I call insurance balls or backup balls, or I can't remember what the other term was that I've heard, but with the table laid out the way it is now, the 13, 8, 4, 6, a lot of them can be insurance balls, so I'm not as worried about it. We'll get into that maybe in a later rack. I'm going to play the 11. I'm going to try to clear the 12, setting the cue ball this way, and the 4 or the 15 is going to be my next shot. And I'm planning on coming back to the 10 last, and by last I mean the 10 to the 2 to the 14, 7, 9 will be my last 5 balls. That's the plan right now. So I played that with a little bit of left, kind of a soft rolling, not really stun shot, but I got straight in on the 4. Not necessarily the shot I really want, but I can stop on the 4 and play the 12, and then actually, based on how I can get on the 12, may change my mind of how I end this rack. So I'm just gonna do this, play the 4, and this is just a stop shot. Now, a lot of you probably are looking at the 8 ball, saying, why don't you play the 8 right now? And I could. It's a fairly decent shot, but I can get to it from anywhere, and it doesn't really block the 13. So I grew up on playing on 9-foot tables, and I'm not a big fan of playing on the short side past the side pocket, although this one's pretty easy to do. And now that I say that, I maybe talked myself into it. But I do like the angle I have on the 12, which is kind of straight in to lead me to the 10. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna play this with straight top. Kind of just follow it up in line with the 10. Now ideally I would like to bend straight in on the 10. I'm not great on it. I did mention, I think on my first ever 75 ball challenge video, that there's an advanced version of this where you essentially call your next ball in pocket as you're shooting. So when I was shooting that 12, I would have said like 10 in the corner, and I would be forced to play the 10 in the corner. I'm not doing that version. I don't think that version helps as much for just getting in stroke and practicing and playing for regular pool. Especially when you're playing 8 ball, there are multiple situations that you can get in multiple shots and patterns and things. So I think I'm gonna take the 6 and drift over for the 15, and maybe use the 15 to get back on the 10. This is a little bit of left and mostly bottom, just kind of a stun out. I think I'm a little bit too far to be able to get on the 10. I could still get on the 10. But here's where I need to worry, kind of not worry, but here's where I need to be careful, because if I don't get on the 10, I won't have another shot really that is easy. So I have to make up my mind now whether I want to get back on these 2 balls or if I want to kind of stun, draw into the rail and go for the 10. And I think I'm going to go for the 10 right here. So this is going to be straight bottom with just a hair of right spin. I'm trying to hit the rail maybe second diamond. And I got about the same angle I got before on the 10 that I didn't like, but now I'm kind of forced to take it. Actually, I'm really forced to take it. I don't want to really take the 2 here because it hits the 14. The cue ball hit the 14. As a rule in this game, you don't want to move balls unless you have to. So I don't want to touch, I don't want to have the cue ball hit another ball or have a ball hit a ball unless I absolutely have to. So I'm looking here as the angle. I want to go, if this is our pocket line, I want to be on this side of the pocket line to shoot the 2 so the cue ball naturally goes that way. So this is just going to be floating forward with maybe a touch of right spin. And I'm like maybe half a ball to the side, maybe a little more than half a ball, maybe a full ball to the side, but this is perfect. This I can stun right over here, or I can play all the way off the rail and out, depending on what I'm feeling. I think I want to do 2-14-9-7, and then come up for these final 2. So I'm just going to stun over and get on the 14. Just like that. Now there's 2 ways to play this shot. I can just float forward because I do want to angle on the 9 to be able to come out for the 7, but I don't need much of an angle. In fact, I don't want too much of an angle. So I could stun forward or kind of float forward, or I could go all the way to the rail and back in. I don't think I need to go to the rail. I think I have just a little bit of an angle here that I can just float forward. This is just top. That should be enough of an angle. Yeah, this is going to be fine. It is pretty straight, but I can stun over to the rail. This is going to be center ball, maybe a touch of right, but I don't know if the right's going to really do much. Now, in my room here, this is not a great leave because I'm on the wall. Let's see how much I can cue. I can cue pretty good. So I have enough of an angle on the 7 that I can just come to the rail and come back out. As long as in fact, either ball goes. So if I could get here, it'd be perfect because I could just play the 8 and spin over. Or I float, kind of slide over to the 13, not spin over. So that's what I'm going to try. This is going to be top. A touch of left to come off the rail and just up table a little bit to my left. Would have liked a little bit more on that. I have much more of an angle on the 8 than I wanted. This happens in this game. You get off a little bit. And it seems like it should get easier as you run the table out because there's fewer balls, but anyone who's played 9 ball or 10 ball knows that as you get further into the run, the balls get harder because if you don't get a really good leave, you can get yourself in trouble. So this I'm gonna have to play almost like a drag shot, which is essentially draw, but the draw comes off the ball, off the cue ball before it hits the 8. And I wanna come with low left, off the rail here and out. This is a tough shot, and I'll talk about, right before the next rack, I'll talk about what kind of shots you want to aim for in this game. Pretty good there. A little bit tougher cut on the 13, but I'm gonna be able to handle this. This I'm playing. I may put a little touch of left on this just so it doesn't go anywhere near that far corner pocket. But there we have it. That's the first rack. Let's rack them up for rack number 2. So I mentioned the percentages in the last rack. My coach Mark Wilson first brought this up to me when he told me this story. He said when he was up and coming, Sailor from Racine said, "Hey, Marco, how many 80% shots do you take?" I think it was Sailor, and if not, it wasn't. And Mark said, "Well, 80%, that's pretty good. I take a lot of 80% shots." The problem with it, and I'm sorry for the math again, Obviously, if you're taking an 80% shot, it's 20% to miss. And what I mean is 80% to make the shot from wherever you are. That means you have 20% chance to miss. That means if you're playing all 80% shots, 1 out of 5 balls you're missing. That means you're never getting through a rack of 15 if you're playing all 80% shots. So the goal here is to play 90 to 95% shots all the time. Now that's never gonna happen. The 8 ball in the last rack was definitely not a 95% shot. That was probably an 80, maybe even a 75. And I happen to shoot it well and I happen to get it. So keep that in mind when you are shooting. The goal is to take, like if you could get all stop shots and all a foot away, that'd be perfect. That'll never happen, but that's your perfect goal. So let's try to break. I wanna hit a little bit more kind of center and hit the rack better than I did before so I don't come off to the side. Like that. That's a pretty good break for this game. Cue ball came straight back to the rail, has no chances of scratching. Did not make a ball, of course, but we have something interesting here. We have a 2-ball cluster where neither ball goes in any pocket. I mean, the 15 might go in that corner if the 10's not there, and the 12 might go, no, it does not. The combo's not lined up, so we have to deal with this cluster, and with ball in hand is probably the best time. But let's look at the rest of the rack first, just to make sure there are no other issues. The 3 ball is in a good spot, but sometimes the 3 ends up like right here, not the 3, but whatever ball ends up like right here, and you have to deal with that. The 8 and the 14 are an issue, but once I get on the 10 to shoot it here, everything opens up. So I think the only real issue is this 12 and 15. And the best way that I'm seeing to get on this is to just play the 9 in the side and follow up and tap the 12. So when you're breaking balls out, you don't necessarily have to smash them. You can go into them really, really, really lightly. Now what you also want is what I was talking about in the last rack is insurance balls. So if I play the 9 and I hit the 12, what do I have? Well, I'm gonna have the 1, probably gonna have the 5, probably gonna have the 6, might have the 7, depending on how it glances off the 12. I'm not gonna hit this hard enough to have the 15 get in the way. I do wanna watch out for the 15 going on the 4 though, so I'm gonna hit this kinda light. Just a little bit of separation on these 2 balls is all I need. That is perfect. Now I don't know if I have the 6. If I do, I'd like to take it. So here's an issue that comes up in this game a lot. The 6 looks like it goes, but it's a hair close. And if I hit the 12 at all, I miss. Now I could spin it a little bit around the 12, but we're talking this 80% shot thing. I don't want to play shots that are less than 80%. Now I have this 1 ball, but I have to bridge over the 12. I also don't have the 5 because I have to bridge over the 12. I have the 10, but I'm bridging over the 6. I may be forced to take the 6. So now I have to trust my eyes here. I think I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to do anything with the cue ball other than make this. So I'm just playing this. Maybe a touch of left to spin around the 12. Now, it seems easy, but I can't tell you how many runs I've lost because I thought a ball was clear and it wasn't. So I just wanted to stop that. I wanted the 7. My 7 was my insurance ball. I knew I was going to have that no matter what. So now I need to have a plan for off the 7. It seems tempting to want to just come up and play the 4, but if you get, and let's say this 6 ball is now the cue ball, you can come up and go this way, and now you're kind of goofy on the 4. Now we're going to ignore this stuff, just looking at the 4 right now. Now you're kind of goofy on the 4 going away from it. You could come up this way, and now you're kind of goofy, and we're talking again about the 80% shot. I want something that's more guaranteed. So I could play for the 4, but because I have these 2 here, and actually the 15 doesn't even go, so because I have the 12 here and the 15 down there, I could play for the 4 with those as a backup. And actually I may do that. This is going to be just straight top. No need to use side spin here. I think I got pretty good on the 4, and I have the 12 even better as a backup. So because the 12 got so good, I'm going to take the 12 here. I am really good on the 4. Maybe I should take the 4. The problem is the 15 doesn't go. So if I take the 4, I'm either coming up for the 1 or back for the 12. Now here's kind of this age-old debate about, like, if I had ball in hand and I wanted to get from the 4 to the 1, how would I do it? Would I take the cue ball over here and draw back? And I see a lot of players do that. Or would I put the cue ball out here and roll forward? That's really the correct answer. So I want to roll forward to the 1. Ideally, I don't want to get caught behind the 15, so I got to make sure I go far enough so I can play the 1. And I'm probably going to go for the 12 off the 1 after that. This is just a straight top. A little sloppy on the ball pocketing. Now I do have the 15 here. I have the 1, but if I take the 1 and I go into the angle for the 12, then I'm leaving myself over the 3 ball. So I'm going to take the 15 first. And in this game, this is very similar to your rotation games. You want to look 3 to 4 balls ahead. A lot of times, like in the last rack, I said I'm going to do these 5 at last. I'm going to go back to these 2 or whatever. I do look at them in patterns. I don't necessarily look at, like, take this half of the table first and take that half of the table, or take this quadrant and that quadrant. Sometimes it's good to leave balls on either side as insurance balls, depending on the situation. So I'm going to take the 15, basically stop it, and I should have an angle from the 1 to the float over the 3, because the 3 is kind of a weird ball. It's easily made, but you have to be on a specific side of it. The other thing I could do is I could float forward on the 1 and take the 3 all the way down, but if I get off the angle, especially here, I can't make the 3. There's also the question of the 3 is pretty tight past the 5. I really don't want to take that chance. So we're going with the 15. By the way, if you have any comments on how I'm shooting these shots, how you would shoot them differently or anything, leave them below. I did not get the angle to get over the 3. So I need to have a plan for the 3. It's probably going to be off the 5. If I can get like here on the 5, bounce one rail out. Still need to deal with the 10 and getting on the 8 and 14. I actually am dead straight on the 12. I can do almost the same thing I was trying on the 15. I do need to come back probably right in between those 2 balls. So this is just a touch of draw. No side spin. That probably will do it. Yeah, this should do it. So I'm gonna go from the 1 to the 3. Then I could do the 5. I could do the 10, depending on the angle I get on the 3. I could also, off the 3, if I'm on the wrong angle, come back for the 13, go all the way from the 5 to the 2. There's a number of options here. Not really concerned. So yeah, 1, 3, 5 is the plan, at least for the next 3 balls. Now this one, you'd be tempted to just roll this forward. I want a more middle ball because I don't want it to go closer to the 3. I want to maintain this tangent line really here so I can stay away from the 3. If I roll forward, it's going to push it towards the 3. I could actually, if I amped up, I could hit it into the 5. I could just do some bad things. So this is just center ball right here. Not really a stun, more a roll. See how I was talking about getting amped up and going into the 5? Now I may actually want to take the 5, even though the cue ball is really close to it. If I can reach it, I can bounce off the rail. Now the reach is a problem, so I'm not going to do that. So I think I'm going to go for the 13. with the wall in the way. I see a lot of people try to hold this for over here for the 11 back here. I don't really like to do that. It's a very, very, very touchy shot. So I'm gonna come out around the 10. My goal is to get about here. For the shooting the 10, if I could get here, that'd be better. We'll see what I can get out of it. This is gonna be top and right. I went a little too far for the 10, but I have the 5 in a really good spot here. I do need to get the 10 out of there, but I'm looking right now, if I can get the 5-3, I can get to the 10 pretty easily. I also want to make a comment about, you see all the guys doing the YouTube videos and they have the little cue ball on the screen and a little red dot with where they're hitting. I'm gonna do a video eventually on why that does not help you. And you wonder, well, why? You show exactly where you hit the cue ball. Because it has nothing, it doesn't take into account the actual shot that's taken. It's done in post. It's the person watching their video or trying to remember where they hit it. They're never gonna be exact. And it doesn't take into account speed or force or how you're hitting or how you're gripping it. So I'll do that in the future video. But that's just for those of you who are wondering why I don't do that in my videos. So this is gonna be low left, kind of punch it off the rail, and I wanna angle kind of in between the 8 and 3, maybe not that far. Kind of just almost exactly like that. So here I can just kind of stun out for the 10. I want to be, and I'll show it from this side first. If this is our pocket line on the 10, I'd like to be here. Sorry, moving the cue around. Because I want to go away from the 10. If I was here, I still have a shot in the 10, but now the cue ball is going into there and I either have to draw out of it or worry about hitting a ball. And remember, if no balls are touching, there's no reason to break them out or to hit them. So this is a little bit longer bridge than I would have liked because of the 8 and the 14, but this is a stun with maybe a touch of left, mostly center ball. I got a little too far off to the side. I wanted to be closer to that pocket line. I don't think I can hold this for the 8. And I see so many people try to hold this ball over here and just float it in and they hit the 10 right here because they're not compensating for the speed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this with some top and right and come to the rail and out a little bit. I'm still holding for the 8, but I'm not doing it in just a floating way. And see how much it bounced out? Now I'm forced to hit the 14 with the cue ball. And there's no getting around it. This is nothing I wanted to do. This is something I was kind of forced to do. And actually the way the balls are laying, I can't really get a leave on the 11 or the 2. I have to go into the 14. Now granted, these are in a really good spot. I have to go into the 14. It's gonna push the 14 kind of towards the pocket. That's gonna be my next shot. So let's see, this is center ball hitting to the left of the pocket, my left. Push the 14 a little bit the wrong way. And now this is where you can get in trouble in these racks. Remember how I said things get harder towards the end. This is a very, very good example. Either shot I'm gonna end up having to play with inside spin because there's a big window here where the 11 does not go past the 2, assuming the 14's out of the way. And there's a big window where the combo is ugly. Actually, the whole combo is ugly, but there's a big window where the only shot would be the combo. Ideally, I could play the 14 and come one rail and hit the 11. The problem is if I don't hit the 11, I'm in trouble. If I play this with inside and it doesn't catch and it slides over, that's a problem. and I might be tough on the 2. So I'm actually gonna try to hit the 11 here. So I'm coming 1 rail off the 14 into the 11. This is top, actually a touch of left. Just like that. Hit the 14 pretty thick to the pocket, but it was at that speed it goes a lot of the times. And you guys in England with your massive buckets, mate, yeah, well, whatever. I'm not a snooker player, I'm not an English 8-ball player. I'm an American pool player and I'm proud of it. Maybe not proud of the America part as much, but that's besides the point. So I'm gonna play this 2-ball with upper right. I'm gonna come 2 rails out of this corner. 1, 2, and just straight out towards the middle of the table. I should get the 11. Put an end to this rack, hopefully. Didn't get as much right spin on it as I would have liked, and that's why I came up short. Kind of have to measure my wall here. So this is just gonna be make the ball shot. I may put just a touch of inside on this just to kill the cue ball, but usually it's just straight top. That is rack number 2. Let's go on to the next one. This comment is for the guy who's like, just get to the point already, even though it was a 45-minute video on the 6 steps of my shooting system. If this is too much for you, this isn't for you. And I'm okay with that. I'm not making shorts, I do have some shorts out there and reels and stuff, but I'm not making content for just a 30-second, oh, look at this double jump shot with 3 rail bank, carom 2 kiss or whatever. I'm putting this out for instructional because people have asked for it, and it's something that I thought I would be able to help people with. If it's not for you, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. If you want to leave me a nasty comment anyway, feel free, it drives engagement, I appreciate it. So we are 30 balls in. This is rack number 3. Let's try to make a ball on the break here. I haven't taken a bunch off the break just for trying to get a solid hit. There we go. That's pretty much the ball, whatever ball behind the head ball went in the side pocket. And again, we have the 3 ball on this, over the side, which wasn't planned. This video brought to you by water. Stay hydrated, kids. So we're doing the same thing. We're looking at the problems. 3 ball in front of the side is fine. It's actually closer to the pocket, so it's not a problem. These 2 are a huge problem. With ball in hand, I don't know that I can make one of them. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can, but I think the 10 is easier to make than the 7. The combo is there, but it's one where you got to line it up like here, and the 10 ball is going away and the cue ball is going that way. There's also not really a good ball to break it out with, and if I would break it out with the 1, I wouldn't really have an insurance ball. So this is probably going to be my first point of issue, but I'm also looking at this. So the 12 does go, the 2 does not. The 14 is in the way of the 11. Does the 14 have a full pocket past the 8? It does. I could use a number of different balls to break that 212 if I wanted. I could use the 13, that's pretty good. Break the 212, probably have the 8 or the 14 as insurance. So I'm gonna worry about these 2 up here. I'm gonna see which one is probably the better shot. The 10 is about that much higher this way than the 7, so I think the 10 is the best way to go. And I don't know if I should hold this for the 7. I'm probably gonna hold it for the 7 just to get the 7 out of there. But I'm not gonna try to hold it for like straight into the 7. So if the pocket line on the 7 is here, I wanna come like out here for it so I have a way to maneuver the cue ball and get it back out of here. I don't wanna just tap it in and then have this weird angle on the 7. I don't wanna be under the 7 by any means. So this is just gonna be top, maybe a hair of left. Yeah, that'll leave me in a good spot. Now we look at what we have next. I like both shots of the here coming 2 rails this way and 2 rails this way with draw. This is a little bit higher up and a little bit higher angle, so I like coming back more. And if I come 1, 2 and spin out, I'm coming right into the line of the 5, the 15, the 13, or the 4. If I come way too far, I can have like something like the 9, 3, or even the 1, but I'm not planning on hitting it that hard. The thing is, you do not want to decelerate your stroke on these shots. This is a standard. If I had to pick one shot on the table that decels most likely, it's this one. And want to make sure you don't. And actually, the longer bridge leads to a bigger chance of deceleration, so I'm shortening the bridge up here. This is low left. I do have the 13. I do have the 5. The 4 actually may be good. And this is funny because it's a random rack. I do put the 8 in the middle and make sure the corners our back corners are opposite just for reasons. But it's the 4 ball in almost the same spot and the 3 ball almost the same spot as last rack. That is not planned, that's just random racking. So I want to take the 4 here. I could take the 5. I don't know, I think this is a matter of preference. I don't know if I want to take the 13 from here. The 5 is a little bit in the way of the line of sight, so it's easier to miss. If I really wanted to go crazy, I could take the 3, but it's a back cut and it's gonna go send the cue ball down there. I'm gonna take the 4, and my plan is the 4 to the 15, which is gonna be just natural. I could actually go from the 4 to the 12 and take this on a bigger angle. But I'm gonna play the 4 and we'll see where I end up. I'm just gonna play a stop shot, so it's gonna drift a little bit because it's a little bit of a cut. We'll see where I end up and see what the next shot is then. And I did hit it to the left side of the pocket on purpose because that holds the cue ball a little bit better. So here I have choices. I can do the 12 as I talked about. I can do the 15 as I talked about. If I take the 12, it's a harder shot. I don't know what it buys me. If I take the 15, I have the 3 almost guaranteed. I have the 13 kind of almost guaranteed. Depending on what I do, I'll probably just stun it over into like this area. I may have the 5, I may have the 9. The question is, how do I get back on the 12 from that? I do have a couple balls. I could play the 14, break it out. I could play the 13, break it out. I'd really, really, really like to get the 14 out, play a stop shot in the 11, and then be able to get the 12 right there and get rid of those, but I don't know that I can get on the 14. I could go for it now. I have to shoot this gap between the 13 and the 11, which isn't bad. If I have like the DVP lines here. By the way, this shirt is a DVP shirt. Check out his site and his store. It's Be Kind to Your Mind, or curse a lot internally like I do, or something like that. The problem I have of going at the 14 leave right now is I could leave myself behind the 13 with almost no shot. I'm gonna try it anyway. I'm gonna play this with top and a little bit of right. I'm gonna come all the way to the rail and back out. Okay, so I'm good on the 13. I have the 14. Now I gotta figure out how to get on the 11, because remember I was talking about if I play a stop shot in the 11 or just roll forward a little bit, I have the 12, 8, 2. Those could be my last 4 balls. My first thought is to stun this to the rail in this window and get the 3 out of there, with a possibility of actually being able to play the 12 at that point. The problem is if I miss that window and I get too high up, I may not have a shot. So I have to be careful on this one. This is gonna be center with a touch of right to pop off the rail if I get there. Just like that. I think I have the 3. I do not have the 12 because I came out too far, which that wasn't really the plan anyway. I do have the 3. So like last rack, this plan may change. I may actually go from the 3 to the 11 right now. If I play this off the rail with some right spin, it's going to come out this way. I could have the 9. I could have the 9, really, the 5, the 13, or the 11. So I'm kind of aiming right for the 11. Not aiming the ball at the 11, aiming for the shot at the 11 after this. This is mostly top, just a hair right. So this shot is going to depend on how much I'm bridging over the 9, whether I take it right now. What I like better, even though it's really close, is taking the 5 right away. And just kind of, I got to jack up a little bit, just kind of drawing back to where the cue ball is, or a little bit less. Or a little bit further, I mean. Just like that. And now I'm on the 11. I still have this 9 ball to deal with. So I'm going to pivot again, kind of go back to the original plan. If I can do 13 and get on the 9 in the side, that leads to the 11. I could also do 13 to the 8, but I kind of like the 8 there after I play the 12 as kind of my insurance ball for that. So I could do one of 2 things. I could come off the rail right to the 9, or I could come off the rail to the 1, because the 1 is sitting up here not really doing anybody any good. I think I might go at that right now. You may be tempted to come for the 1 in the side, but you got to get way back here. Do not recommend that. So I'm going to go where I am now, and the 1 isn't bad, but really kind of here is okay, because then I can just play a stop shot on the 1, 9 in the corner, and get out and get the rest of those 4. A little bit of a stretch here. This is going to be kind of a stun lower right. A little short from where my intended mark was. Always check your angles. So right now, if I play a stop shot, I almost have another stop shot on the 9 in the corner. So that's my plan here. Now, shooting these is personal preference. I prefer a stop shot in a shot like that. Some people just roll it forward. I feel like I have more control with a stop shot. Here I need to roll forward a little bit, because again, I'd like to be, if we're looking at the pocket line, I'd like to be just a hair to this side of the pocket line. Straight in on it is fine too. But if I stop it, I'm gonna be here. And then I have to worry about, I could break out the 12, but there's no reason to break it out since it goes right now. So this, I'm gonna roll forward just straight top. Maybe I'll speed the video up so you don't have to wait so long for that ball to go in. But I am straight on the 11, which is actually perfect. I can play a stop shot. I'm gonna be right here on the 12. There is part of the ball where the 12 doesn't go, and the 2 gets in the way, but this guarantees the most of the ball. So I did roll a little bit. I did a stop shot, but I kind of eased up a little bit so it would roll a little bit. It's kind of not a stun forward. It's not a drag shot. It's in between. It's just a touch shot. I don't know how else to explain it. So the issue here is I do not want to be on the 2 ball, or behind the 2 ball, or in front of the 2 ball. So I have to pick a spot that I want to be on the 8. I also don't want to just roll this down and get straight in, because then getting back on the 2 is going to be tough. With bouncy rails, it is hard to get straight in, but I want to purposely avoid getting straight in here. So I do want to bounce off the rail slightly. Just middle ball. And that should be enough angle to get me out and around for the 2. Yeah, now I can do this a couple different ways. I can do kind of straight, stun a little bottom, and just pop it off the rail straight up out here. I could follow it. The 8's frozen. Following it, the problem with following it is if depending on the rail and depending on the cloth, how polished the balls are, you could slide this along the rail and it hits the point and it dies right there. And I know everyone's had that happen to them. If you haven't, you're either lying or you haven't been playing pool long enough. So I'm gonna just center ball, maybe a touch of left and about a tip below center. Just kind of pop it out. That wasn't enough, wasn't enough that I wanted, but this is plenty for the sake of this exercise. Now don't hit this hard enough to scratch. If you need to put spin on it to get past the side pocket, you can, but you should just be able to roll it in and get nowhere near the scratch. I did put a little bit of left on that just for the natural kind of trailing angle, but that's rack 3. We're at 45 balls, on to rack 4. All right, as I said, for those of you counting, that was 45 balls, that was 3 racks. This is rack number 4. See if I can hit the break as good, if not better than I did last time. I got both side balls in there. Now, a lot of the times on the break, you want to get that like pop. For this game, it isn't as important because you're just looking for a good spread. But as you saw, I still made 2 balls and everything is wide open. There's no 2 balls touching. There's no ball on the rail. The 6 is kind of there. Obvious problem here is the 12-14. The 12 does go. And it's actually a shot that I might want to take right away. But let me look at the rest of the rack. So the other issue is the 3 and the 11. The 11 blocks the 3 from going over here, but there's this one ball that's just sitting here nice and beautiful to be able to get on either of these on the side. There's also the 10 once the 1 is gone. And this is one of those cases I talked about where there's a ball sitting in front of a pocket, you need to get rid of it. So not only do I need to get rid of it, but it leads me to all sorts of stuff. I don't see any other problems here. So famous last words, maybe. Question is, do I want to go to the 5 from the 12? The 5 blocks the 14 from going in this corner. The 14 does go here. Once the 12 is gone, I can get from the 6 to the 14 very easily, so I'm not going to worry about that. My issue with leaving for the 5 is that cue ball is going right into the 6. And what's our rule? You do not want to touch balls when you don't have to in this game. So what do I want to go to off the 12 is the question. On a little bit of an angle, I think the 12 to the 13 might be good. I just want to set this up so I don't hit the 14 because that would make me look really stupid. And then you probably wouldn't see this rack on the video. Now you may be tempted to say, well, if all I need to do is get here, maybe I should play the 8 first and roll into there. I'm telling you that I've tried that so many times and just failed miserably that I do not recommend it. So I'm gonna play this 12, I'm gonna come out. I'm probably not gonna be able to go to the rail and back. I could leave more distance, but I can't get enough of an angle to really do it. So I'm just gonna kind of stun this back a little bit below center and just kind of smooth through it. Like that. Now, that was one that I didn't really have a lot of insurance balls, but I knew I had this 13. The problem is bridging over this now may be an issue. I have to bridge kind of over the 14. So how do I want to play the 13 so I can make it the easiest possible? I do not have the 1, the 10's in the way. I could cut the 7. People might say the 14-5 combo is easy. Where are you putting the cue ball? Like you're gonna have to move the cue ball out back to where it is, and then the 14 is headed right towards the 6. Do not recommend. So I'm gonna play the 13. Where do I wanna go with the 13? If I could stop the 13 right there, I have the 2 in the side. That might be the play. This is just bottom with maybe a touch of right to kind of kill it off the rail. Just like that. I do have the 2 in the side, but it's going off angle. I could play the 3 in the side, but then that's hitting the 12, and we don't want to do that. I do not have the 1. I could jump the... Never mind. I do not have the 8. I do not have the 7. So the 2 is the shot. Just have to determine what I want to do off the 2. It'd be nice to be able to get this 1 out of here. I don't think I can do it off this shot. Natural tangent line is going to be coming this way, but it's going to also head kind of right into the 8. So I need to put some draw on it to cut that off. I don't want to put too much draw because then this brings this corner into play. I really don't like this, but if I play right, I could come off the rail and in between the 4 and the 5, but there's way too much chance of hitting stuff there. The problem is I don't really have a shot to get on after this unless I do something kind of drastic. So maybe I will do that. I'm going to play this kind of top right. It makes the 2 a little bit more missable. I'm trying to get on the 6 next. And just what I talked about, I hit a ball, but this is about the best possible outcome of the hitting that ball could be. I actually do have the 14 right now. I do have the 5 right now. Sometimes you need to be a little bit lucky in pool. I don't think I want to take the 5 because I don't really have a great angle to get off of it. But if I play the 14 with some right, I can spin 1 rail down here and have the 7 in the side and clear that. The 7's kind of blocking the 8 for this pocket, even though the 8 has plenty of places. And have the 5 or the 6 as insurance. I need to draw this a little bit, so this is almost like a kill shot, low right. I got pretty good on the 7 here, I think. It's about as good as you're gonna get. By the way, I'll talk about that after this rack. So I'm looking at the angle here, and the angle is gonna take me right behind the 5, or the 9. The 8, this black ball with the number 8 on it is the 8 ball. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stop it where the 7 is, and I'll have the 5 ball and get that out of there. I could also take the 6 right now, but there's no real reason to do this. I just don't wanna I don't wanna float it past the 8 and get stuck behind the 8. Had to jack up a little bit. Now actually I could take the 8 if I wanted, but it's a little bit going away from the pocket. But I think I am gonna take the 8, and I'm gonna come out 1 rail, leave myself for the 5. This is some upper left. Left was just to kind of kill the angle off. I don't know if I have a good angle on the 5. Nope, I am pretty straight on the 5. I need to get the 1 out so I can play the 10. I don't have the 1 here. So I'm gonna have to plane for a longer shot. Basically just stop the cue ball on the 5, and I have the 1 next. I don't wanna really draw it back because I don't wanna risk getting behind the 1 or getting behind the 10. I could draw it a little bit with a little bit of left spin and play it in the left side of the pocket. Kind of just that's all I was trying to get. A little bit more off the rail. A couple different ways I can play this shot. I can play it with outside. Kind of come here, risk going into these balls. I can play it with inside. The problem is with inside, it makes it missable. And I may not get, the spin may not take. But I think I'm gonna play it with inside to kind of kill the angle off the rail back there. This is like, I don't know, what's this, 9, 10 o'clock on the cue ball? Slow down. And that is an issue with trying to go into balls. Cue ball is not frozen to the 3, but trying to take this 3 is not an 80% shot, so I'm gonna have to take the 4 here. Now remember early on when I said there's many ways to get to these 3 and 11. However, we are towards the end of the rack, and I have no way to get straight on the 10 to get to them. So maybe that was a mistake. I should have looked at that before. This is what can happen in these runs though. I'm at 55 balls right now, and the pressure is starting to build, plus talking doesn't really help. Does not help the case at all. I don't know if I want to try to hold this for one of these on the side, or if I want to come all the way around the 10 with the 6 as my backup. I think I'm going to do that. This is top with a touch of left, with 100% concentration on making the ball. And then another 60% concentration on getting around the 10. So it's 160%. Easy game. Now I'm not straight on the 10 by any means. The 6 is a much tougher cut than 80%. I mean, I can make it, but where is the cue ball gonna go? Could I get better on the 10 than I am right now? Maybe. But I think a stop shot drifts the 10 or drifts the cue ball over to the point where I can play the 11. And in fact, if I'm inside the pocket line in the 11, I can always come out for the 3 and then use that to get to the 6 for my last ball. So we're gonna try that. Basically just a stop shot. It's gonna drift over a little bit. As long as I get the 11 on the side, I should be good. Kind of hitting this to the right side of the pocket, which is dangerous. It's right on the pocket line. So I need to move the cue ball here. You may think stopping it is a good result, and it kind of does look like it, but it's going to be really close to the 3, and it's going to be hard to maneuver off the 3. So then I'm going to have a final shot on the 6 from here. The other option I have is to take the 3 now. I do not like the 6 now because there's no way you're ever going to get back to the 3 and 11 easily. And I know you could play the 3 rail forward all the way around, but is that an 80% shot? You making that 80% of the time with shape? Really? I don't think so. So if I play the 3 first, what do I get on? Do I get on the 6 or do I get on the 11? The other option I have is to play the 11 and come all the way here and out, but I have to get like here. Actually, here would work on the 3. Maybe I'll try that. This seems like the lesser of 7 evils. I'm gonna hit the point with the cue ball, but I think I can make this work. So this is top. If you want to try a touch of right, you can. I'm just going to play top. Oh, that was easier than I thought. I was worried about hitting the point and dying. So now I actually have a really nice angle just to drift over. This is almost like a stop shot, maybe a little stun. I just don't want to get anywhere near the side pocket. Also, I would never, ever, 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 Trevor, ever consider going forward and bringing it 2 rails around. Ever. Trevor. Yep, just like that. And this ball, just make it, just don't hit it at a pace that would send the cue ball over there. You could draw it, you could play center ball. I'm gonna play a little bit of top, just to kind of kill the cue ball. Rack number 4, 60 balls. See you in a couple seconds. All right, this is rack 5. We are at 60 balls. Now, a bunch of you are gonna wonder, or you might wonder, why did I cut out the areas between the rack? Almost all my ghost matches, in fact, every one of my ghost matches, I leave that stuff in and I just fast forward it. This is because I'm just making a little bit notes to myself of, you know, insert this funny picture here. I'm taking a glass of water or drink of water in between, and just taking a breath. This is much harder to do with talking it through, especially when I'm down on the shot, than it is just shooting on my own with my music going and stuff like that. So you'll have to take my word for it. These are 5 consecutive racks. No matter what happens in this rack, we're gonna play it out. All right, focus on the break, get a good break here. All right, I am sorry I did not scratch on a break because I was going to show you what happens, but let's say I scratched on this break, whatever ball went in, this 4 ball, would spot up and just be right here, and then I would have to deal with this mess. So it didn't, and we're looking at this rack. Obvious issues with the 14-7 and the 9-15. 15 goes in both corner pockets up here. The 9 goes in the side. The 9 would go in this side if the 10 wasn't there. I don't think the 9 goes in either corner though. And then down here, the 14 goes right now past the 7. The 7 actually goes right now past the 14. The other issue is the 5 ball, a little bit, not as much, but it is kind of a concern. I could use the 10 to get to the 5 pretty easily. In fact, okay, the 7 does not go past the 1, but both the 7 and the 14 do go down here. So I think this is more of an issue right now than the 14-7. So I'm gonna take ball in hand and deal with this. And I'm gonna shoot one of these, and then I'm gonna go into the 10, into the 5. Or not into the 5, but play the 10 and then play the 5. I think I'm gonna play this one. I just wanna make sure I'm not cueing on top of the 9. So I'm playing this a little bit off of straight in. And I knew because of where the 15 was that I was gonna be straight in on the 10. Now, on the 5, there's a number of different, or I should say number, there's 2 different ways to really play this. I wanna get an angle. I do not wanna be straight in on the 5, although in this case, straight in is not terrible. I either wanna be on this side or I wanna be on this side so I can bounce off the rail or I have a natural angle to come out. This is gonna be personal preference a lot of the times, but for me, I wanna be a little bit on the inside of it. Just a hair, not too much. Because then I can come out for the 6 and take the 1 and get over to the 14. It's kind of my plan right now. We'll see what happens. I'm just following this a little bit, nowhere near hard enough to be able to scratch. So I got good on this. If I just play a stop shot, the cue ball comes out to about here. I can just play the 6. I need an angle on the 1. I could also go from the 5 to the 13. The 8 is kind of in the way there. I don't think I mentioned this in this video. These balls like the 13 here can be problems because if you get on the wrong side of them, it's hard to navigate. You may have to travel the cue ball more. So I do want to take care of this 13, but there's many balls that lead to it. The other issue is this 11 down here, but there's also 3 different balls I can use to get there. So I'm going to play this kind of a natural stop shot. I just don't want to be behind the 8 ball for the 6. All right, we're on the 6. I need an angle on the 1 so I can come out for the 14. The 1 is off the rail, but there's no way I'm gonna be able to leave this down here. It's gonna bounce and it's gonna leave me straight in or worse. So I wanna follow this off the rail and out. I just don't wanna get on the 14. So I'm aiming for like about as high up the 6 is right now, maybe a little bit higher. Playing this with a little bit of inside, so this is top right. Should be really good. Yeah, this is decent. Could have used a little bit more angle, but I didn't want to get on these 2. So I'm only talking about another ball. And if you can aim for a ball's width halfway across the table, spread out with inside, more power to you. So I want to come out 1, 2, and out here. If I go too far, I have the 13 or even the 3, but I'd really ideally like to get on this 7, and if I get too far, I can get the 14. Look at the line again. So I'm looking at past the 3rd diamond line, really. Might be asking a lot. Actually going to play this with straight top. I did not get anywhere near the line I wanted. Ah, close. It's close. I can deal with this. Take my extension off here. The problem with being on this side of the line, and you can see I'm on this side of the line by quite a bit, is the 14 is now in my vision. The 7 does go past it, but from here it kind of looks like it doesn't. It kind of looks like it's in the way. So if I don't like it, I could bail out and I could play something else. This is the kind of decisions that come up in this game that it seems simple, but this could be make or break not only this rack, but the entire run. So I'm going to play the 7. I'm just going to play it straight over to the rail and hopefully for the 14 next. Yep, that works. I don't think I'm going to be able to use this. So here I have the 14, which is pretty straight, or I have the 13, which is also pretty straight, but it's easier to get on a shot from the 13. So I'm going to play the 13. Can I get from the 13 to the 8 easily? Absolutely can. And I can just play a stop shot and get on the 8 and get the 14 out of there and then come up table. So jacking up a little bit makes this a little bit harder, but this is straight in. I just have to worry about shooting the cue stick straight. It drifted a little bit, but I think I'll still be okay. Actually, a little bit more angle than I would have liked. So if I want to come for the 14, I got to come one rail out and over here. But that might not be bad because a natural angle on the 14 from like here would take me out and back around. The other option, if I don't like this at all, is I can take the 2 and then go down to the 11. But I think I'm going to take the 8. I think I like the 8 better. 2 ways to play this. I can go 1 and out, or I can go 1, 2 and out. I do not suggest trying to just go over here. Those of you guys who play on bouncy 7-foot diamond tables know what I'm talking about. If you try to leave it here, it hits the rail and it bounces out, and all of a sudden you're like right here on top of the 14. So I'm going to try to go 1 rail on back, and I want to be on this side, where I'm standing side of the 14. Straight top. Just like that. Actually don't have enough of an angle. I mean, I do, but I wouldn't have minded having more of an angle here. I like the natural from like here, natural 2 rail out of the corner. As it is now, I'm just going to play straight top and have it float up table. Get either the 2, I'm aiming for center table somewhere, and I'm either going to get the 2, the 9, the 12, or if I go too far, the 3. This is a touchy speed shot, but you can kind of let your stroke out. Maybe a touch of inside, but probably not. If I get to the 3, that'd be great. Not really on the 3. I mean, I am. In fact, I could take the 3 and get right on the 11 right now, and that might not be too bad, but I could also take the 2 and get on the 11, and I think that's more of a natural angle. It's really easy from the 3 to try to get on the 11 and get locked up and stuck on that back rail. From both the 9 and the 12, I can get to the 3 on the side easily for probably what's going to be my last ball, or not, if not second last. I could see this going 2, 11, 12, 3, 9. Got all that? It's not Jenny's number. It's something else. So this I'm gonna play a little bit of inside to kind of shoot the cue ball towards the rail, towards the top rail after it hits the side rail. Kind of underhit that one a little bit, but should still be good. Might have to take off the cue extension. I have a wall that's not great for this table. I'd really like a 9-foot table, but that'll never happen in this room. So I'm going from the 11, the goal is to get on the 12. If I go too far or not far enough, I can have the 3 in the side as my insurance ball. So this is gonna be like a middle ball, maybe a touch of outside, and just pop off the rail and up. And I did not want to do that, but as I was saying, I have the 3 as my insurance ball. I do not want to take the 12 right here because it's a weird back cut. I got a jack up on it. And if you're counting, I'm at 72 balls here and the goal is 75. The pressure is huge right now. I just want to come over here and look at what angle I'm going to have on the 9. It's not going to be great to get back to the 12, so I got myself out of line here. This is going to be an issue, and I can't go up and down. I have to just float this ball in. I might be able to force it and go to the rail 2 and back up towards the 12, but I'm on the rail here and that makes the 3 missable and that makes just weird stuff happen. So I don't like floating these in, but I'm gonna basically just slow roll float this in. And I could take the 12 here too, but I'm not going to. So there's 2 ways to play this 9 ball. If I'm feeling really good, I draw this to the rail and out. The problem is this side pocket does come into play. Otherwise, I need to follow it to the rail and out. I need to hit it hard enough that it comes out past there, but I need to not hit it hard enough that it goes all the way down here and gives me a tough shot. And I probably want to put a touch of inside on this. So this is going to be like 11 o'clock on the cue ball. Got almost the same shot I had. Nah, you actually got much better than that. But this is ball 75. How are you handling the pressure? Because for me, it's a little tough. Just got to concentrate and make this ball. Don't hit it hard enough where it's going to scratch. Don't hit it soft enough that I could miss. Straight top, maybe a touch of outside. And I butchered the last shot for a run of 74. That is how this game goes sometimes. Oh boy. Was not expecting that. I thought I was going to make that. But if you look at that shot, that's probably an 80% shot. And 1 out of 5 times I missed. And I got weird on the last like 4 or 5 balls. And that led to that. But anyway, I think this is going to be fine. It's not the 75 ball challenge today. It's a 74 ball challenge. But if you are doing what I'm doing and I'm keeping track of all these and I'm putting down in a spreadsheet and things like that, this is going to add to the average pretty well. In fact, I'm going to keep this as one of the days today because I'm recording this on the last day in March in 2026. So I'm going to put that on my spreadsheet as a 74. I wish I could have had that shot over again, but that's not what happens in pool. You do not get mulligans. And you see a lot of pros after they miss a shot, they'll set it up and shoot it again. It's already gone from my memory. It's already gone from my memory, not on the table, not gonna be a problem. Anyway, this is the Every Shot Explained 75 ball challenge video. It's probably been pretty long. I don't really apologize for that because I think this is really good info. For those of you who don't think this applies to any of your games, try it out and then play some 8-ball. And I'll tell you, after doing 10, 15, 20 racks of this, 8-ball almost seems, I don't want to say easy, but it's easier to see the patterns. It may not be as easy to execute, but you can see the patterns much better. So anyway, that's it for this video. Leave me a comment. In fact, I should have mentioned this way earlier on, and I may do a voiceover, but I'll probably forget. If you would have played any of these differently, leave me a comment with the timestamps, like 23:45, I would have not done what you did and I would have played this and you're an idiot and that kind of stuff. Or Ball 74, I wouldn't have, or 75, I wouldn't have missed that. I would have made it. Yes, I agree. What's funny now that I'm thinking of it in my head is I think I said I was going to put some outside on it, which would have been a left, and I didn't put any, but I probably aimed so I needed to. So that's why I missed. In other words, the translation is I missed the last ball. But anyway, enough of that. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe, and comment below. And until the next time, I'm running out of ideas for the every shot explained. I think I have 10 ball left. After that, I'm not going to do one pocket because I don't play it. I could do banks, but I'm terrible at it. But I think that's going to be maybe going back and doing another 8 ball or 9 ball. But until next time, everyone have a great day. Enjoy. We'll see you.